The assassination of Charlie Kirk has given rise to countless so-called conspiracies.
These are the Kirk Conspiracies.
The most obvious conspiracies concern ballistics, angles of fire, and most glaringly, the gun, which the government has said is a .30-06 rifle. Military and civilian experts all seem to agree that there is no way the damage seen was consistent with a .30-06 round.
Unless it was a miracle.
There is a YouTuber named Jesse Kague who has a channel called One Shot TV. It's all about guns.
I have our ballistic dummy bust on a table. Well, we definitely penetrated our water jugs, and I don't think this is going to help to stop the conspiracy theories. His head fell off.
Look at that. I mean, watch that.
All right, guys. I figured this is probably what would happen. I was trying to remain optimistic, but that right there is why people are skeptical on the official story.
That particular bullet would have decapitated Charlie.
In addition to the .30-06 story being ridiculous, let's listen to Candace describe how the gun was supposedly found.
That area had already been searched, not just by veteran police officers who told me that the way they do this is they sort of lock arms, then they kind of go, you kind of seen this in some shows maybe. That's what they did. They came up, they didn't have anything. Then they said, okay, we're only human. Let's release the bomb dogs in that exact area where ultimately the gun is going to later be discovered. The bomb dogs didn't turn up with anything. So seasoned officers plus the dogs crawled the area and came up dry. Until, fast forward, so many miracles in this story, fast forward to when the feds arrive, the federal officers are going around and asking officers weird questions like, oh, how long have you been on the police force? And what happens then is that federal officers direct 3 police officers who I'm told between the 3 of these officers, they had less than a year and a half on the force, okay? Like these officers are pretty spanking brand new, just like everything else in the story. And the federal officers specifically direct them, check again over yonder, check again yonder, right over there, because I just don't trust that super high-grade technology of a dog's nose that we have. And you 3, go and see if there could be something over there. And guys, you're not going to believe me, but lo and behold, these police officers, bam, there it is, the gun.
And then there was the story of the magic neck, in which Andrew Colvett, TPUSA's spokesman, seemed to quote a surgeon in a tweet, deceptively as would later be proven, as saying that it was a miracle that Charlie's bone was so healthy and the density so impressive that he's like a man of steel. It should have just gone through and through. Many saw this as being an attempt to deceive, trying to sane-splain the fact that there was no exit wound from a .30-06. Candace Owens clipped Alex Jones's response to Colvett's tweet.
The spokesperson for TPUSA just posted 2 hours ago that they talked to the coroner, 6 in the left side of his neck, the carotid artery, and that he's a man of steel, and that the bones in his neck that are like chicken bones stopped a bullet that travels 2,500 feet a second out of the barrel. I've shot hogs at 500 yards, .30-06, right to the side. Tiny hole blows a 4-inch hole out the other side. We're talking through 2 feet of a hog. Boom. They just said he got shot with a .30-06 and that it didn't go through.
There was the guy who filmed the shooter on the roof.
Can right up.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying. He just ran from over, where's my finger? Whoa. From over there, ran in. And now he's right there. Just saying.
After quite a bit of trouble, Candace apparently did track down either the guy who was filming or the friend who was with him, and he told her that the man looked highly trained, like a foreign agent, that he was dressed in tactical gear with a face mask, not in jeans, and that the gun looked to be a smaller gun, not a .30-06. Perhaps the most troubling aspect of this so-called conspiracy is that the authorities have apparently never contacted this man to get his information or his footage. There were questions about how the shooter accessed the roof. but it can be seen by looking at Google Maps how easy it was. Stairs led up to a walkway, and he was able to step over a low fence. Another fact never mentioned is that the campus police office looks out on that stairway from about 50 feet away. At first, many focused on what appeared to be hand signals given by security staff right before the shot was fired.
Dan Flood, Mikey McCoy, seconds before what happens. I never saw this before, right? Check that out. They're looking at each other. He gives him a nod. Looks at Dan Flood. Dan Flood gives a nod. Then he picks up his phone. You know, a lot of people have said, like, oh, this guy was on the phone with somebody. Maybe. But then he does that signal, and then the shot goes off. Just like that.
Mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Many people commented on the agility of the killer's jump off the roof and doubted that he had a long gun with him as he jumped, as the government claims. There is apparently no video of the suspect's surrender at the police station.
It doesn't seem like we're ever going to be able to get that footage because it's now missing, ?
On September 17th, 2025, Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby held a press conference.
Our job was not to interview, our job was just to get him here.
After Charlie Kirk's alleged shooter was taken into custody in Washington County less than 2 days after the shooting.
Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives.
After learning of this, I submitted a public records request to obtain any video of Tyler Robinson walking into the jail facility. Washington County responded saying there were no records responsive to the request, as Robinson did not go to the jail area. Our request for any holding room video was denied. A few weeks later, I re-upped the request on a more generalized scale for surveillance video showing Tyler Robinson walking into the sheriff's office.
For the state of Utah, we would certainly hope that this video is available.
The response? Our office does not have any applicable records responsive to this request, as the surveillance footage is no longer available after the 30-day retention period.
If in fact it has been destroyed and not preserved, it's very concerning. And if it has, then it's very concerning that they're telling you they don't have it. If they no longer have it, I would have expected to say that this video has been provided to the Utah County law enforcement. Please contact them. But instead, this letter leads, in my opinion, as trying to shut the door and not give you free access to the press.
While it's not clear if the video exists and was just handed over to another agency, in a response to me, Washington County shared with me they don't believe the video was shared with anyone involved in the case.
Wanting to get videos showing that he turned himself in and the manner he did so would be crucial for the defense.
There's the odd behavior of the camera guy, the audiovisual guy, Terrell Farnsworth.
Again, I am just amazed at internet sleuths.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. He's dead. God help him.
Then, just a couple of minutes afterward, he moves Charlie's chair. That's a crime scene. That's not good. And he moves it because he wants to stand on it as he takes down the cameras, or the camera rather, that is just above Charlie's head. You can see, slowed down here, he pulls out the chair. He stands on it. And yes, that would be a big no-no for a crime scene. You don't move anything. He tracks down the camera that is directly above where Charlie was sitting and would be able to provide, therefore, a lot of insight. And then you can see he kind of sits the camera onto the desk, and it looks like he removes the SIM card from it, or the SD card, if you will, which we're watching right here.
George Zinn, a 71-year-old man seen here stumbling down some stairs, his pants falling down as he falls down as well, decided to confess to police at the scene, yelling something like, "I shot him, now shoot me." This has been seen as a planned distraction, although it might just be opportunistic madness and dumb luck. Coincidentally, George Zinn was also on national TV as a witness to 9/11. Mikey McCoy was and is Turning Point's chief of staff, and he was there that day. Thanks to 5149 James Lee for his video.
Mikey McCoy, Charlie Kirk's chief of staff. This is him on the day that Charlie died, and let's just say his behavior was a little more than just odd that day. Check this out.
You can see Mikey identified there on the left, or standing next to the left of the tent. Charlie Kirk has just a few seconds left here on this earth, and you can see here, as soon as Charlie is hit, Mikey, in one swift motion, picks up the phone and looks to be calling someone. Very odd. He doesn't duck down like everybody else. He doesn't run to Charlie's aid. He literally picks up the phone and turns around and starts walking. Back to the footage one more time. You can see, again, Charlie is hit. Mikey, one movement, picks up the phone and starts walking. And there he is again. You can clearly see that he appears to be on the phone with somebody.
We've got Mikey McCoy, and he is right here.
Here it is, another angle. You can see Charlie below being carried into the SUV, and Mikey is in the distance, looks to be still just on the phone, casually strolling away from the scene of the crime. Is that normal? And maybe the bigger question I'm thinking, and you're probably wondering the same thing too, is who was he calling? Well, I did some digging, and according to the New York Times, it was one Erika Kirk. Quote, Miss Kirk was sitting in her mother's hospital room at 11:23 a.m. local time in Phoenix when she saw the number of her husband's longtime assistant, Michael McCoy, appear on her phone. In retrospect, she said she knew the words, "He's been shot," before Mr. McCoy screamed them. According to official records, Charlie Kirk was shot at 12:23 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 11:23 in Phoenix. So if the New York Times is being 100% accurate, the only person that Mikey could have been on the phone with is Erika. But the weird part in all this that I can't really let go of is that he witnessed practically nothing, right? He saw Charlie get shot, then he picks up his phone, supposedly calls Erika, immediately turns around, walks away. He didn't even look at Charlie, so he would really have no idea of Charlie's condition, unless, of course, he was told by somebody. Maybe somebody was feeding him the information as he was on the phone. I don't know. Or the quiet part out loud is maybe he knew something was going to happen before it did. Oh, and one last little bit. You'll never believe who was searching for one Mikey McCoy a few months before Charlie's death in July of 2025. I won't say it, but you can see it. And of course, guess what it looks like now? The exact search parameters yielding no results, not enough data.
Josh Hammer, currently editor-at-large for Newsweek, is apparently quite invested in Turning Point USA, as he has interjected himself into the story a number of times, most notably with 2 tweets which Candace Owens discusses here.
16 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. For no apparent reason at all, he retweeted something that President Donald Trump had sent a full 12 years ago about public executions. Here it is. Here is that retweet. Trump wrote on April 19th, 2013, should be public execution for all to see. You will end this bull fast. And Josh Hammer just replies and says, based, you can see. We are in Central Time, so that's about 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time. And Josh made it clear multiple times that in his last conversation with Charlie, above anything else, was really interested in Josh's book. So much so that in his literal first tweet, after news broke that Charlie had in fact died, Josh manages to bring up his book. I'm not kidding. Here's his tweet. He writes this. I am speechless, devastated, and heartbroken. We spoke less than 24 hours ago. Charlie joked how he was going to plug my book on this very tour. He was a unique force, a generational leader. Pray for Charlie's beautiful wife and their young children. Rest in peace, warrior.
What the last words I think Charlie spoke to me were, he literally said, Josh, when the Israel question comes up, I'm just going to plug your book, Israel and Civilization, because I think that what you write in the book basically is how I feel as well. And that ends up being the last time that we spoke.
Well, you heard him. It's like Charlie's final wish is for you to buy Josh Hammer's book.
There's the strange case of the Steele family. Erwin Steele was the person who provided TMZ with the footage which we've all seen of the shooter walking by shortly before the shooting the day before. Erwin Steele co-owns 12 houses in the area, apparently in common with his large family. Elle Steele, a child who witnessed the event, was interviewed by Good Morning America along with her aunt, Tiffany Barker, and a cousin, the evening after the shooting at the scene.
Tiffany Barker and her nieces Elle Steele and Mia Grant, who were all in the audience yesterday afternoon. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know it's been a difficult day for all of you right now. And Tiffany, let me begin with you. Just tell us what you remember about the scene yesterday.
It was horrific. There was one shot that rang out, and everybody instantly looked around and then fell to the ground. People saw Charlie instantly get shot in the neck, and everybody fell to the ground, and then people started running and got run over. And I was with my family. We had 16 of us there, so 5 adults and like 11 children. And we instantly got separated. We're trying to find everybody, and we had amazing Good Samaritans that grabbed kids. One took my niece and took her to her apartment. Somebody grabbed these two and my daughter and took them over to the tennis courts and stayed with them until I came. It was a super awful tragedy, and there were really good people that stood up and supported each other, and it was actually really powerful to see that.
Elle and me, I can't imagine how scared you must have been yesterday. What can you tell us about what you all remember? Elle, you go first.
So I remember hearing this thing. It was hard to know what it was, but then I saw it, and I saw blood everywhere, and it hit his artery, and then I fell to the ground. I covered my head with my hands, and then I just started saying a prayer, and then we all ran. We sprinted away, and we ran away and then we met at the tennis courts, and then we couldn't find anyone. It was just me, Mia, and then my other cousin Bella, and then we were calling everyone. We didn't know what to do, and then we finally met up with them, and it was just so scary.
I'm sure. Mia?
I remember that we were 15 feet away, and I thought the shot was a firecracker or something. It just didn't seem real. After that, we went behind where Charlie Kirk was, and then we were meeting up at the tennis courts and trying to find everyone and get everyone together. And Charlie Kirk was such a good guy. I'm gonna miss him so much. I've always watched all of his videos, and
I can't imagine what you all
America's
went
gonna miss Charlie Kirk.
Can't imagine what you went through yesterday. Thanks for sharing your stories this morning.
And then also miles away in St. George, Utah, another Steele was interviewed by the BBC.
Her last name also happens to be Steele, but this one witnessed something 4 hours away. Her name is Sherry Steele, and she spoke to the BBC about how she had witnessed the police swarm the townhouse of Tyler Robinson and Lance while she was walking her dog in the evening. Here is what she says. I'm going to read it directly here from the article. This is from the article. It reads, Sherry Steele, who lives across the street from the residence, came back from an evening walk to see a large police presence. In a video that she showed the BBC, for some reason the BBC is not publishing this video, a loud voice, which she said belonged to the authorities, can be heard shouting, "Freeze!" and "Come out now!" It just kind of blows your mind coming up the street and all of a sudden there are helicopters above your house, Ms. Steele said, adding that she had never spoken to Mr. Robinson.
The Steele family is apparently involved in state and local politics as well as the LDS Church. Tiffany Barker's father was a council member, while her sister ran for lieutenant governor on a ticket with Phil Lyman, whose connections to all this we'll touch on next. The Steele family apparently own a company called Caldera Engineering, which makes valves, which may have national security implications.
Many of you emailed me something that was quite surprising. Maybe I'm just ignorant, but they let me know that this is a very niche industry. And by niche, I mean that you asserted that it implies major government contracts, likely the CIA. Those of you who have worked at those industries telling me that there are even certain valves that are exclusively manufactured in Israel and that they tend to be involved in this. The government and the military tend to be involved in this. And that even, by the way, on Caldera's website, they noted that they have worked in Israel. They have a map that they note every country that they have done engineering projects in. And one of them or 2 dots are in Israel. And somebody explained why the government gets involved when it comes to valves and piping. And I'm just going to read you this email because maybe there are people at home who are just as ignorant as I am about government level engineering, okay? This person wrote, "Hi, Candace. I wanted to share some detailed information regarding valves, piping, and their relevance to critical infrastructure and intelligence communities. Valves as critical infrastructure assets. Modern industrial valves are used in pipelines, water treatment plants, power plants, and chemical facilities are often automated and networked, forming part of operational technology and SCADA systems. This allows remote monitoring and control of the flow of gas, oil, water, and chemicals. Cybersecurity implications. These valves are part of systems that could be targeted for cyber attacks. Compromised valves can cause pipeline ruptures, water contamination, or industrial accidents. Because of this, intelligence and regulatory agencies, the CISA, NSA, PHMSA, FERC, monitor valve networks and may maintain trusted relationships with manufacturers and engineers to ensure security and resilience. Integration with above ground systems. Modern valve networks can also integrate with cameras, sensors, alarms, and environmental monitoring. This means that an operator could simultaneously monitor flow, view live video, and respond to alarms, which enhances both security and operational oversight. And strategic value for intelligence communities. Knowledge of valve locations, models, and control systems provide insight into critical infrastructure vulnerabilities. Access to or relationships with manufacturers allows agencies to monitor, assess, and secure supply chains. Remote monitoring of valves and integrated systems can support emergency response simulations and national security exercises. And then they provide us with the real world context by writing, companies like Caldera Engineering in Provo, Utah, manufacture specialized industrial valves and control systems. While no public evidence currently links them to intelligence contracts, their products could theoretically be part of OT systems monitored by government agencies due to the critical nature of the infrastructure that they serve. In short, valves themselves are simple mechanical devices, but when networked and embedded in critical infrastructure, they become strategically important for monitoring security and intelligence purposes.
I mentioned just a moment ago that Tiffany Barker, the woman who gave the interview with the two children, had a sister who had run for lieutenant governor on a ticket with Phil Lyman. Well, there are many more Phil Lyman connections. Phil Lyman's website for his gubernatorial campaign has 20 endorsements on it. One of these is from George Zinn, the man who provided distraction by claiming to be the shooter. Phil Lyman was the one that arranged the GMA, Good Morning America, appearance for Tiffany Barker and the kids. Phil Lyman himself was interviewed by Fox News and one or two local outlets about Charlie's killing, and he also posted on Instagram that evening.
I do want to linger on a moment for what you just told us, and I'm going to ask the team to pull back up that surveillance footage that we've gotten from TMZ, from his neighborhood cameras. You said that in that footage is your driveway, and you parked there at 11:30 a.m. We know this footage that you're looking at was taken at 11:49 a.m. So you would have been on that street, that driveway, 19 minutes.
Right across. Yeah, it's not my driveway; it's my aunt's driveway. Parking lot was very full. He's walking in front of my aunt's house there right now, and my cousin's house is the driveway that is taking that photo, and my CRV, the gray CRV in the distance there, that is my car. I parked there probably 10 minutes before he walked by, and I had not seen this footage till just now, and it just keeps so many things that keep linking up. It's really astonishing to me. And then we went back to this house afterwards. They thought they had the shooter, so I took a friend of mine. We went back to my aunt's house. I said, well, we'll just hang out here for a while. And before long, the people were combing the backyard, as you saw. She had the footage of that, and pretty soon helicopters are overhead. And so this is very, very local to me. Not only is it Utah, but it's kind of my neighborhood where I spent so much of my childhood and all of my relatives. Yeah. This is really astonishing. I got up yesterday morning at 6 o'clock to drive up and meet Charlie, and I haven't been to bed since then, because it's just one thing after another, and so astonishing that this could happen in Utah.
We've got video. He came off the roof. He came up here to the parking lot, got in the car with an individual, and they drove away. Well, that's not the story that came. So that he escaped another route, and there are people who are coordinating this thing. I do not believe that 30-06 that they showed recovered in the bushes was ever on the roof. I think it was in the bushes to start with. And now I'm not saying that Tyler Robinson wasn't on the roof. I'm not saying he didn't pull a trigger. I know I was in very, very close proximity. So another interesting thing, like I say, I left the front of the stage. I wanted to meet some of my friends and bring them down front. So I was clear at the east end, and I heard this loud boom. I heard this loud bang. And I turned around and I'm looking like, what was that? What was that? And pretty soon some people started, running. Everyone was trying to process. And I thought, this is a gunshot, and there's going to be more of them. I thought it could turn into a mass shooting. So I go to the people closest to me. Everyone's ducking down behind the concrete retaining walls, and some of them were still kind of oblivious, but there were two people that were standing there. two girls, very goth, very black, you know, and I just walked, and I stepped up to the side of them and I said, did that not happen right here? Did you hear that? Was that right here? And they said, yeah, it was just right over there.
Anyways, he also went on to a local Utah news station and spoke about how he was with Charlie just before Charlie went onto stage. Take a listen.
Phil, thanks for joining us, first of all. But I saw a picture. I saw a picture of you with Charlie Kirk, and it looks like you were like maybe right before he went on stage. Is this just like minutes before this happened?
Yeah, no, I was basically backstage, and when he came out and was throwing the hats, I was there. I was standing next to stage, and I would have been there when the shooting took place, but I needed to go meet some of my friends, and I didn't want to just hang around. So there's a part of me that's glad that I wasn't in close proximity, and part of me that feels bad that I wasn't there, just in some form of moral, presence and support. It's such a tragic thing.
When I combine those clips, I'm kind of unclear as to where he was exactly when the shots rang out, if he was close or if he felt bad that he wasn't close. Anyways, he went onto Instagram that night as Tiffany was prepping her Good Morning America hit, I suppose. And he speaks further about what he was doing back onto campus and what exactly he remembers. Take a listen. Again, this is on September 10th, and it's around 11:30 p.m. at night.
Hey, it's September 10th, 2025, and I was just heading back from Salt Lake to Blanding. I'm getting a very late start. It's about 11:30 at night, and I wanted to swing back by UVU campus where Charlie Kirk was killed today and see if I could let a few of the police officers know how much I appreciate the work they're doing, see if there's some college students here that I could rub shoulders with, more for my benefit than for theirs. But what I really wanted to share was I was very close this morning where Charlie Kirk was at, met him backstage, and we talked for a moment before he went on stage, and I was backstage as he started speaking, and then decided to go up top, and I went up to the top, and ironically was very close to where the shooter was. Apparently, the shot was very loud, and I determined pretty quickly that whoever it was on the roof. It was a 200-yard kill shot.
One final item on Phil Lyman. Candace had been working with a Utah Valley University student whom she called Nick to protect his real name. Nick had previously helped Phil Lyman hook up a phone call with Candace, which in itself was somewhat odd. Why was Phil Lyman inserting himself into Candace's investigation? Then a few days later, Nick calls Candace.
Nick calls me, and he's a little bit undone. He tells me that Phil Lyman has just showed up at his house. Now, I want to be very clear. Nick is 20 years old. He's a 20-year-old UVU student and a major super fan of Phil as of 48 hours ago. And he's very uncomfortable. And he tells me that Phil randomly messaged him saying that he was nearby in town, and asked Nick for his address, something that he never had. And Nick, quite naively, being this Phil super fan, thinks that Phil's going to come and offer him a job because he's been so on it, investigating this Charlie Kirk assassination. And that's not what happens at all. Instead, he says that he shows up, he opens the door for him, and his energy is very weird. And he's asking him weird questions. He's looking out of the window nervously. He sits down at the table. He's asking him questions about my investigation. I'm like, what? He then tells him, I'm going to go, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a phone call in my car. So he's just idling in a 20-year-old's driveway who just happened to work on his campaign. And he's on the phone. And he's why he's calling me panicking. He's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why he's being so weird. I don't know why he's asking me questions about this investigation. And I'm like, yeah, this is weird.
There was a guy stopped in the middle of an interview.
I was standing from probably the third row in the bottom. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off. Get off me! Get off me!
Emotions are running high right now.
Many new people were involved in the official investigation.
It was kind of everybody's first day on the job, right? 9/10 was everybody's first day on the job, meaning that there were a lot of these recent and brand new hires in Utah that would all kind of come across and have to deal with this case. Kash Patel, I told you, cleaned house at the state borough. He then installs a person that has a long tenure in D.C., Robert Bowles. His first case is Charlie Kirk's assassination. Why would he want to uproot and move his family to Utah after having roots in Virginia for so long? I don't know, but that's the circumstance. Also, I told you there was a new CEO and therefore a new lead surgeon, Andrew Zenger, over at the hospital, the regional hospital that Charlie was taken to, although that was not the nearest hospital from the university, and it also ranked extremely low in terms of the most best equipped hospital, if you will, to deal with the sort of trauma that Charlie was suffering from, a neck wound, obviously. So it's very strange. I think it would be interesting to learn whether or not that new CEO and surgeon worked on Charlie. There were also some other new people, and I forgot to mention the judge that is in the case, that is overseeing the case against Tyler Robinson, is Judge Tony F. Graff Jr. He was recently appointed to the 4th District Court in May of 2025 by Governor Spencer Cox. I was also informed that the coroner in this case was also brand spanking new. That name has not yet been released. I am told that person is new.
TPUSA had a new sponsor, WireFi.
And he tries to get close to Charlie after the shots are fired, but not in like a rescue way. There was already like a team of men that fly in. And then he gets there. The security guard just kind of shoos him away immediately. And then what the guy does is he sort of just stands up and he takes out, like, walks to the side and takes out his cell phone. So I'm going to show you that. He's right there in the blue shirt. And like sends a text as I'm watching the footage. It goes on a little bit longer, like sends a text, takes a photo. Not entirely clear what's being done there.
The site where Kirk was killed was paved over within a few days of the shooting. Finally, for part 1, we can talk about the tunnel theory, which Candace and others had brought up.
But they were doing a lot more than just paving over the grass. I don't know if you saw, there's ladders and workers everywhere there. More people need to know that, okay. Well, here, look at this.
Yeah, they replaced ceiling tiles.
So look at this.
I got to see inside of that hatch.
What's in there?
And I got video of inside of that hatch. I didn't go in myself, but when I was there, I noticed that there was a worker with the hatch open working inside of it. And I was able to go up above him with my camera and shoot down into it and get video footage of what was in it. And so there's actually 2 hatches. The one that's open is further away from the wall. And then there's one that's closed a little closer to the wall. The one closer to the wall just had a sump pump kind of thing in it and was just a little hole in the ground. But the one that is open in this photo does have more space underneath it. It's like an open chamber that I don't know how far it expands in any direction. But I was able to see that there was hosing coiled up in the space beneath that clearly extended outwards in directions. And there's probably equipment to run the water feature in the courtyard there, I would assume. I don't think that the trapdoor is really suspicious in any way, but it certainly got the conspiracy theorists going.
That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it or think the information is important, you know what to do. This video took a full month to put together, including upfront work for the next video or 2. We touched on 25 so-called conspiracies today. There are at least as many more to go just to bring us up to date, and new information is coming out almost daily from independent news creators. I have not seen a single other video similar to this attempting to pull all the conspiracies together. When I work on these videos, I let everything else in my life go, or they would take months instead of weeks to put together, and I can't keep that up for long. But I will commit to make a part 2 video if this video gets 1,000 or more views, and if it gets 100 or more likes. Part 2 would cover Israeli influence, Egyptian airplanes, Fort Huachuca, financial irregularities, Erika's lies, and much, much more. Thanks for watching.